presents the 4th edition of the Multimodal Logistics Summit 2023, powered by Speedways Logistics, co-presented by Jodak Shipping, organized by India Seatrade in association with Federation of Indian Export Organizations. Can we hear a loud round of applause for this amazing platform that encourages meaningful discussions towards the improvement of the sector? Well, that's not loud enough, but we'll let go of it right now. Welcome to session 2, developing smart solutions for current logistics challenges. This session focuses on the logistics issues faced by exporters and importers and how service providers are addressing those problems in innovative ways. So, ladies and gentlemen, to discuss and debate on this topic, I would like to invite the dignitaries on stage one by one. Keep your applauses ready. The first guest on stage, Mr. Raveen Kumar Reddy, IRTS, Principal Chief Commercial Manager, South Central Railway. Mr. Raveen Kumar Reddy has varied experience as policymaker and administrator in the areas of energy and power generation, industry parks and free trade warehousing zones, railway operations and infrastructure planning, industrial clusters, shipping and ports, commerce and export promotion. His specialties include industrial corridors, industrial parks, industrial smart cities, urban planning, sustainable industrial water supply grid and pipeline planning, CETP and maritime outfall project planning and funding or implementation, industrial infrastructure funding and EPC bid management. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Raveen Kumar Reddy. Welcome, sir. Moving on to our next panelist of the day, Mr. Kishore Kumar Cherukumalli, Managing Director, Sandy Bay Seafoods India Private Limited. Mr. Kishore Kumar Cherukumalli is the former Vice Chairman of Marine Product Export Development Authority of India. He has also previously served as President, Crab Meat Processors Association of India. Sandy Bay Seeds India Private Limited is processing chilled, canned and plastic cups of pasteurized crab meat since 2008. It was incorporated on 26th of February 2008. Sandy Bay Seafoods India Private Limited is a joint venture between India and Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, let's invite Mr. Kishore Kumar for his valuable insights today. Welcome, sir. Let's move on to our next guest for the day, Dr. Bikash Kumar Nayak, Head Operations, Aurobindo Pharma Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, let's invite him on stage. Driving profitability and growth through sound MFG and operation expansion acumen in pharma production has been a cornerstone of his career to date. He is well honed in addressing the challenge of pharma import alert and warning letters from US FDA regulator. Garnered rich exposure in receiving import alert, but with remedial actions, and he got reapproved by FDA. Garnered accounting, business development, vendor management, and management, strong finance professional with a CA, focused in accounts, commerce, tax from South Point High School. He is currently overviewing 2 business verticals of APJ Surendra Group. So welcome once again, Mr. Sauvik Mandal to the dais, and thank you for joining us on the panel. We'll move on to our next speaker of the day, Mr. Debashish Mitra, CEO, Behag Overseas. Ladies and gentlemen, with a loud round of applause, let's welcome him on stage. He's a postgraduate in sociology and business administration and started his career in logistics middle of 1999 at Kolkata. For the last 22 years, Mitra not only acquired the experience of vast subject of international logistics, but also qualified Regulation 8, which is conducted by Ministry of Finance, to authorize him as their agent to work related with export and import. Debashish Mitra he has his own offices in Kolkata and branch offices throughout the Bengal land port. His organization, Behag Overseas, work for international logistics shipping throughout the world, especially Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Debashish Mitra for you. Welcome, sir. Now let's invite on stage Mr. Prashant Sagar, General Manager, Marketing and Services, Rashtriya Ispat Nigam Limited. Mr. Prashant Sagar is a B.Tech in Metallurgical Engineering from IIT Kanpur and he did his MBA from FMS, Delhi. He's worked as Senior BM Bangalore, Jaipur, Ahmedabad and Coimbatore, and is Regional Manager West in RINL. He's presently working as General Manager Marketing, ITD and Services. Ladies and gentlemen, let's look forward to hearing from him, Mr. Prashant Sagar. Welcome, sir. And to moderate this session, we have Mr. Naveen Prakash, Director, Global Logistics Solutions Private Limited, here today to moderate the session and to set the tone of the discussion. Mr. Naveen Prakash is a co-founder of Global Logistics, a company engaged primarily in LCL consolidation, freight forwarding, and project logistics since its inception in 2006. Global Logistics is located in 19 locations across India with an employee strength of 350 logistics professionals. After completing his bachelor's in economics from Madras Christian College, he worked for two leading logistics firms, Freight Systems Limited and All Cargo Global Logistics. For more than 20 years, he's been leading Consolidators Association of India, Chennai chapter as president and as a chair with Supply Chain Committee of South India Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Naveen Prakash to moderate this session. Well, I'd like to hand over the floor to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome again. After a tea break, congratulations to India Seatrade for the event again. As you already know, we're going to talk about smart logistics and what are the vendors and the customers looking forward to it. So whenever we say something is smart, it has to be measurable. So interestingly, last week, all of you must be aware that World Logistics Performance Index was released. And what basically it means is that logistic performance is measured in different countries, and basically it has two components. The first component is a worldwide survey of international logistic operators on the ground, including global freight forwarders and express carriers. This survey provides feedback on logistics friendliness of the countries with which they trade. The second component is a quantitative assessment of logistics performance of countries based on 6 dimensions. Number 1 being efficiency of customs and border management clearance. Number 2, quality of trade and transport related infrastructure. Number 3, ease of arranging competitively priced shipments. Number 4, competence and quality of logistics services. Number 5, ability to track and trace consignments. Number 6, and frequency with which shipments reach consignees within scheduled or expected delivery times. These two components are combined to create an overall LPI score for each and every country. LPI is an interactive benchmarking tool created to help countries identify the challenges and opportunities they face in the performance of trade logistics and what they can do to improve their performance. So basically, LPI does a comparison of 139 countries, and I would like to say, share that India has performed well. They're up their rank, and I'm quite happy that some of the reasons why it has performed well, we have the panelists who have contributed to it. So I would like to have a big round of applause because they will going to come and share how they helped India's LPI ranking go up this year. So without further ado, I would like to call upon my first speaker here on the stage, Mr. Raveen Kumar Reddy. My questions are very in a very student-like format because this is a place we can learn from the speakers. So I would like to ask Mr. Raveen Kumar is, what are the changes that have taken place in the place of multimodal solution landscape in the emerging geopolitical situation? I would like you to highlight that what have taken place in terms of shifting trade patterns of new routes and transportation corridors being established, which in turn has created opportunities for multimodal solutions, number 1. Number 2, being technological advancements. Number 3, of course, the hot topic, the focus on sustainability. And more importantly, how the trade is responding to all these initiatives. Thank you, sir.
Quite a big, tall task that you have set for me. As I see it, when we talk about changes in multimodal landscape, in evolving global trade milieu and the industry matrix, the hinterland matrix, I see very distinctly a 7-point agenda. Mega coastal terminals, where the RSR, rail, sea, rail route, LNG terminals, cargo-specific liquid cargo terminals, alternate ports to congested ports. Take the example of Digi for JNPT. Mega transshipment terminals, take the example of ICTT, International Container Transshipment Terminal, DP World at Vallarpadam, and Vijayanagar, which is coming up pretty fast. DFC connectivity, the dedicated freight corridor connectivity, which will probably address some of the concerns of our Professor Saab from Andhra University there, who is also a close friend of my erstwhile batchmate, Mr. KVR Murthy, which will probably address the slow speeds of Indian railways, and rail infrastructure augmentation at ports and in the hinterland dry ports. Coming to the 6th point, the last mile connectivity through measures like Sagarmala, Bharatmala. And 7th, the deep draft ports, which can handle Cape-size vessels, VLCCs, which will deliver to cut down the per container costs or the cargo costs for the industry. Now coming to the first one, the mega coastal terminals. India has around 361 billion tons of coal reserves. And in spite of that, we depend on imported coal, primarily because of the bottlenecks in transportation infrastructure, be it rail, be it road. Since it's only now that we have gone to this Gati Shakti mode and huge pumping of capex. But remember, capex also cannot be spent just like that. There are no real players out there in the market who can really roll out all that infrastructure in the blink of an eye. It takes years and years. So we're talking about all this Gati Shakti initiative taking almost a decade or so, or maybe in phases. So then what is the interim solution? The government of India has constituted an IMC, Interministerial Committee, to study an alternate mode of transport called RSR, Rail, Sea, Rail. Mr. Ajit Botra is here from Kakinada. We know very well that Rail, Sea, Rail used to work very well, and we used to exponentially move coal cargo for power plants when, against the all-rail route. So we are talking about that for the movement of domestic coal, POL, LPG, to really get into the Atmanirbhar Bharat mode. Mahanadi Coalfields Talche is the largest coal reserve in India, one of the biggest in the world, and it's well poised to cater to the growing requirement of all the domestic coal of all the thermal plants and industry. However, the nearest port to MCL Talche for RSR port is the Paradip port, and it is already near the peak capacity. So now we have to look at mega coal terminals for doing this coastal shipping and RSR moves. Dhamra port is coming up with a 40 MMTPA capacity for coastal coal exports, and this is a good augury. Krishnapatnam port is also mechanizing pretty fast. They have 2 huge wagon loading system bunkers. So this has a capacity of 33 MMTPA, and this can further increase. And this port is now being utilized by all major power plants of Andhra Pradesh like APPDCL, Semcop, APGenco, Mudanuru, etc. for the coastal coal requirement. And this is primarily not just import but RSR coal as well. Now second, when you look at LNG terminals, special cargo terminals, and what Naveen was telling about sustainability and carbon emissions and climate change, we indeed need to be very concerned about that. And India stands committed to reduce emissions intensity of its GDP by 45% by 2030 from 2005 level. Further, it has committed to achieve the target of net zero emissions by 2070. This is as per the Paris Protocol norms. Now, LNG is considered as a bridge fuel. That is, it has lower emissions as compared to coal, petrol, diesel, or other petroleum products to reduce the emissions intensity till the country transitions to cleaner sources of fuel like renewable power, solar, wind, hydel, and green hydrogen. And the biggest green hydrogen park is coming right here next door, where APIC has entered into MOU with NTPC to set up a green hydrogen park. It's going to be a huge game changer, I'm telling you. Vizag is going to be really on the global map. So there are now only 6 operating LNG terminals in the country. Now, recently, the Dhamra with Total Energies is constructing a 5 MMTPA LNG terminal, which is expected to be commissioned by May 2023. And this has a potential to scale up to 10 MMTPA in line with demand growth. So this is a good augury and definitely in line with the sustainability and climate change goals of the country. Now, coming to the third, when you're talking about alternatives to existing congested ports, like JNPA, Jawaharlal Nehru Port Authority, which consists of JNPT and Nhava Sheva International Container Terminal, is totally chock-a-block. We hear all the time that everybody wants to move there, but then there are trucks waiting for miles together, and there are very severe movement issues there. So Dighi Port, which is coming up around 76 kilometers south of JNPA, will go a long way, and this is being planned with rail connectivity through the Dighi-Roha railway line, planned to be implemented an NGR model, that is a non-governmental railway model. It shall also connect Dinegaon JNPT dry port and the Auric Industrial Smart City, the Aurangabad Industrial Smart City at Shankar Bedkan at Aurangabad. During my VC and MD APIC tenure, we had master planned 7 industrial smart cities with National Industrial Corridor Development Corporation and ADB funding and electronic manufacturing clusters. One of the first ones is coming up close by Nakapalli Rambili with 2 nodes. That is, one is the ADB node and another is the NICDIC node, each with 11,000 acres of entirely, totally plug-and-play industrial infrastructure. We have one coming up at Urvakallu, Kurnool. We have one coming up at Chris City, Krishnapatnam Industrial Smart City, which is advanced EPC stage, just 8 kilometers from Krishnapatnam Port and 30 kilometers from Sri City, where we had extensive road shows and convergence with TECC, Kotra, JETRO, that is Japanese Export and Trade Organization, Korean Trade Organization, and Taiwan Economic and Cultural Center to get in their high-tech companies on a China +1 model and Make in India model. We have at the Chittur, Yerpedu Kalahasti 2 nodes coming up, and the Kopparthi Kadapa industrial node coming up. We have electronic manufacturing clusters. Already a very big one is there at Vikrutamala in Tirupati airport premises, and another one has started at Kopparthi. So where, these are going to be huge game changers, and what earlier the early panel were talking about the hinterland, where is the cargo? I mean, you create the capacity, but does the cargo come? Cargo will come, I assure you. Cargo is going to be aplenty. All we need is vision to develop the infrastructure ahead of the cargo, which is what I was developed with Commodore Saab, Captain Saab there. I have my close friend KVR Murthy, who is also my colleague and was also a shipping captain. So shippies understand that, First you need to create the infrastructure, then cargo will come automatically. Now, talking about mega transshipment terminals, as CGM Concord Southern Region, I was on the director of Concord, had a 15% stake in the DP World ICTT at Valarpadam, and that was a visionary move at that point of time, maybe way ahead of the times, but that created this thing. See, right now 75% of India's transshipment cargo, unfortunately, is still handled at ports outside India, 85% of which is in Colombo, Singapore, and Port Klang. It is a real shame. All of us are sitting here, we talk big, but in this day and age, we are still such a huge country, and we are depending on these small, big ports at these small countries. In order to bring the transshipment volumes back to India, ICTT was a forerunner, and now Vizinjam is also coming up pretty fast. It's going to be commissioned by December 2024, and I foresee that ICTT Valarpadam and Vizinjam will bring in the huge Cape-size and super Cape-size vessels, which will really bring the motherships to India and transfer the transshipment from the foreign shores of Colombo, Singapore, and Port Klang to India. And also, Vizinjam is coming up as a semi-automated container terminal, which will be the first of its kind, and which will be really setting the benchmark to all the other transshipment terminals abroad. Now, coming to the 5th point, the DFC connectivity and augmentation of rail handling infrastructure. Now, efficient rail infrastructure, as Professor Asad has been telling us repeatedly, is imperative to reduce the overall logistics costs, to decongest already saturated road network, and promote shifting of freight transport, away from, right now you have the slowest moving train, your passenger train is your impediment. I cannot leapfrog over the passenger train, right? So we have to segregate freight traffic, we have to segregate this Vande Bharat high-speed trains, we have to segregate the slow-moving traffic. So that is what is happening now. We are getting back on track, gentlemen. The Western Dedicated Freight Corridor, which is being developed with JICA funding, is under construction, spans from JNPA to Dadri. The first shipment from ICD Dadri with double-stack container trains on the DFC route has already reached Mundra Port, and this is going to be a game changer because these double-stack trains will reduce the total logistics costs to the trade. Now, coming to the last mile connectivity, the first and last mile connectivity is the most critical component of the Indian logistics sector, which Professor Saab will well bear out. And this is somewhere where we have been woefully lacking because everybody operates in their silos, there's no handshake, right? So through the Sagarmala initiative, now we are implementing rail and road projects for enhanced connectivity to the hinterland. The Railways PPP initiative, Public-Private Partnership Initiative, though Ajit Batra is very cynical about it, but let me tell you, gentlemen, this is going to be a game changer of permitting ports, mines, cluster of industries to provide first and last mile connectivity through private funding through the NGR model, non-governmental railway model. Now already a 54-kilometer double-line rail connectivity from Adipur to Mundra Port, a 64-kilometer single-line railway connectivity from Bhadrak to Dhamra Port, which is under doubling, is already seen the light of the day. Then you have further the rail connectivity is being set up for Hazira and Katipalli ports, which will provide the hinterland with enhanced access so the cargo will be able to reach the ports. GCTs, Gati Shakti terminals, are game changer for hinterland capacity and augmentation. We have the JNPT dry port, GCT at Dinagaon, Aurangabad, which is got notified and which will be starting work very shortly. The only thing pending is the Bharatmala road connectivity by the NHAI, which is well under process. BPCL jetty-based POL Gati Shakti terminal at Krishnapatnam has started with 1 lakh ton haulage with its own POL unloading jetties and handling equipment. The Penna Cement's clinker grinding plant, GCT at Krishnapatnam. We have a Lloyd Steel iron ore export GCT at Manigar, which the iron ore is coming to Kakinada Port, Krishnapatnam Port. So I know these cargoes are finally coming there. Earlier they had no outlet. They couldn't move by road all the while. So these facilities are coming up and many more are coming up for both EXIM, domestic cargo and handling capacities. We have very recently seen the largest container vessel APL Raffles that ever called on any Indian port at Mundra Port. Now the deep draft ports, there are 5 Indian ports which can host a fully laden Cape vessel, which still I think is a shame. A country of our size should have 10, maybe even more of those. We need to have vision, gentlemen. And Mundra, Krishnapatnam, Gangavaram, Dhamra, and I think the 5th is Kandla, if I'm not mistaken. These are there, but they have been there for some time and we need more. Gentlemen, now we need to look at all these 7 agendas if they are fully addressed. I think getting cargo to the ports, developing the hinterland is not an issue. The sky is the limit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm pretty sure the previous session questions are answered now with Mr. Ravin. So I'm very glad that he's on my panel. My next question is to our co-panelist, Mr. Kishore Kumar. He's from the seafood industry. So I rarely meet people from that. So my first question is that how did you even get interested in seafood and what's the passion behind it? And in terms of my logistics, what are the innovations made to improve your supply chain and transport operations? Some of these innovations in terms of traceability systems, real-time tracking, packaging innovation, and collaboration with your logistics partners. So over to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It's a long story. Way back in 86 to 88, I was looking for business opportunities, and that was my first visit sometime during 87 to Visakhapatnam, and I fell in love with this city. The options available to me at that time was either enter into a mining in Telangana area where I come from, or go into a business at Visakhapatnam base And having fell in love for Visakhapatnam and the beach, I started as a seafood. And initially in '89, I started operation with 2 foreign fishing trawlers, and then moved into shore-based processing, exports, then acquired my own processing plant. Now operating a joint venture with Thailand, where we produce a niche product, one of its kind. There are only 10 companies in India, only one in Andhra Pradesh, that is pasteurized crab meat, which is ready to eat, very high-end product. Some of our grades sell in US market in the shelves for $80 a pound. That is somewhere around $200 a kilo. So when you sell that kind of product, that costly product, and also ready to eat product, naturally your standards are also very, very, very high, meeting those expectations. And we also pack for an international brand which is 120 years. The Chicken of the Sea is the brand. When you pack for such a reputed brand for such niche product, you need to be, rise to their level of expectations. And that is what we are doing. And touch wood, so far there are no issues, absolutely zero issues. That is how we take care of the products. That is how I have entered seafood, and that is what I am doing for the last 33 years. And coming to traceability, when we started operations in 90s, actually literally to confess here, we never knew the word traceability. We simply used to buy from fishermen, process, export, and literally receive the money and forget. From that primitive day, today, we have, records of the last 10 years, piled up, and any claim, any issue that any consumer, in America, the product that we sell has a shelf life of 18 months from the time of process, and it is such a sensitive product where chilled product, which has to be maintained from +1 to +3 only. And till the consumer takes to their home and opens the can and uses it, any issue in between, ultimately the producer and the seller will be responsible. So once in a while there will be mails, and within 6 to 8 hours, we'll be able to trace back from which boat we have purchased, which port, which state, and how it has been sent from Tamil Nadu to Visakhapatnam, and on which day we have produced, what is the batch code, and in which pasteurization tank, from what time to what time it was pasteurized. And such accurate traceability we do maintain today, sir. That is a long journey in the last 30 years. One single can anywhere in USA, we can date back to its history, from which boat it has been caught. That is the level of traceability we have. And tracking, sir, what exactly you mean by tracking?
I mean, basically, exactly what you explained about traceability from the shelf, from the sourcing point. Any seafood product or any temperature control product, there are various technologies just coming to track your shipment from your factory to the shelf.
Right. Now, nowadays, the Indian companies, because of the market demands, market requirements, and those countries' regulations, we are also maintaining these ISO standards, where it is a mandatory for us actually to maintain the traceability. And not just my company, but the whole of India has raised to those expectations and have do maintain these records. And coming to packaging innovation, yes, today what we are doing is absolutely to the global expectations. Again, if I go back, the days when we used to make our first shipments, the cargo used to come to Visakhapatnam port from different factories, transfer from, inland areas to here where the cargo can be loaded. some of us do import even the packaging material. Coming to my own company, because I pack high-end crab meat in metal cans to be maintained at +1 degrees with a shelf life of 18 months. So during this entire 18 months, you can't afford to have any rusting or any color formation. So, we also do import, but 90% of the packaging is developed very much in India, meeting the global standards. A major sea change that we have seen in the past 2 to 3 decades, meeting the requirements, expectations of the markets. And the final question is the collaboration with logistics. I think we had to really grow in that area. But thanks to some of these developments where the containers are coming to our factories, we do maintain very high standards when we are loading the cargo into the containers. But we do have certain challenges, like, we do face issues till the cargo is loaded into the container, we do have control. But once the cargo loaded into the container and then it goes on board the ship, there are instances where there were some challenges where the temperature abuse has taken place, and then the importer has realized that the cargo has some issues, and then naturally the question comes back to the packer that, can you please give the these temperature records. And it is so unfortunate that, these international, very, very reputed shipping liners even decline. They never decline. They never say that they will not part. But after months and months and months of persuasion, tremendous follow-up, the company never bothered to even give the temperature log while it is on board. From here, the container goes to America, takes about 45 days. From here, container goes to China, it could take about 18 to 20 days. And that particular time, the shipper has no control over these logs. It is the liner's responsibility which has to give. And unfortunately, they never even say that, they will not part with this information. What happens is, they may be actually responsible, they may not be responsible. We do not know. But they don't even share the data. And unless the data is shared, the importer is not able to even claim the insurances. Maybe the shipping line is responsible or not responsible, or during the transit, temperature abuse can happen. So this is one area where, we the exporters have become really helpless. We can't go and fight with these legal battles with these liners for a cargo of $100,000 or, maybe $500,000. So that challenge is always with us, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for taking us through the journey of how you come to the industry. And definitely the concern that you have given, I'm sure in the audience, we have participants who could reply on that. Thanks a lot, sir. So my next co-panelist is Mr. Prashant Sagar. Sir from, sorry. Yeah, so basically my question is that Rashtriya Ispat Nigam Limited has taken several initiatives to make logistics more efficient and reduce carbon emission. I would like to throw some light on what you have done in developing a multimodal transportation system, number one. Number two, optimizing the routes and modes of transportation used for the raw material and also the finished goods. And implementing, of course, high energy efficient measures in this aspect, sir.
Hello. So basically the first question of, how RINL has improved the smart solutions for the logistics challenges. So basically, in a steel company, the biggest challenge which we all face is the movement of all the finished goods and basically the input materials. So, that's the biggest challenge. So, to get all the raw materials on time and in a cost efficient manner is, this would be the main, attribute to your success and to your profits. So basically one or two initiatives that we have done is, we have actually, one is we were facing problems with the movement of our finished goods. So, one alternative which we had done was we had gone in for some coastal shipping. So we had identified that, we can send material to Bombay, to Cochin, to Ahmedabad in a, comparatively cost competitive manner as compared to railways. So we had adopted an agency and they had carried the material from Vizag port and they had taken it to these 3 destinations. So then actually in the initial consignments that had gone, there were some issues. So actually we also had have fine-tuned our contracts, which we had done. And now again we have also done that exercise and we have identified that for some destinations like Tuticorin or for Cochin and Mumbai, our coastal shipping will be cost competitive. Another thing which we have actually identified, we had got huge orders of L&T for the bullet train. So most of these sites are in between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. So earlier our model of selling was that we send the material to the stockyards. So be it Bombay or Ahmedabad, and then we send material first by rake to these stockyards, and from there we transport to the various sites where this, railway, the L&T wants material. Then we actually found out that this is quite very costly, and we are sometimes sending material to Ahmedabad and then moving back material to Surat or Vapi. And basically it is, leading to higher carbon emissions also, and it's a, much costly. So then we have, we worked out a model wherein we will be sending material to maybe Surat by rail, and we'll appoint a CN clearing agent at Surat who will transport material from Surat to nearby sites of L&T. So therein we will be saving costs to service the project customers, and also basically, it will also help in energy efficiency. So basically, and in many destinations we have actually, we feel that this clearing and forwarding appointment will help us, that we need not have a stockyard there, but close to the demand point we can always appoint a clearing agent and then send material by rail, and then he can possibly handle it at that point and service the project customers. And thirdly, actually earlier our focus was not much on the FOR directly to the project customers. So we used to send material to the various stockyards, and the customers used to lift material from the stockyards for their sites. So now actually we are also working a lot on sending material directly to the sites of the customers, directly from Visakhapatnam. So this also helps in saving costs, as well as we can without any customer will straight away get material at his premises, and in the most cost effective manner. So these are some initiatives which we have taken. And apart from that, your second question you said was for the some route optimization. So actually route optimization we have not done. I'll not say that anything great or anything we have done, but one, thing which we had done some time back was, develop this Gangavaram port. And this Gangavaram port is just adjacent to our plant. So we have a, port just, kind of at the backyard of our plant. And then we have a conveyor belt from the Gangavaram port coming to our plant, which is hooded. So all the coking coal which we use is coming in this hooded conveyor belt, which is around 1.7 kilometers without any, causing any pollutions or anything. And the entire, material is coming in a very, very, efficient manner without, and basically this has also, a big development. Regarding the third point which you have said was the energy efficiency. So basically, we were earlier, railways were always telling us that, we are taking, a long time to load the rakes. And the system in our plant was that when the rake used to come, it used to get divided. It used to go to our various mills and then get loaded in the various mills, and then again it used to come to a point where we used to assemble it and then send it to the destined destination. Now basically we have spent some 600 crores and developed a yard inside our plant which is known as the CDY. So what we are doing is we are bringing all the material from the mills to CDY, by internal wagons, and now we are actually in this month we are loading the rakes with an RRT of close to around 6.5 hours. And after the railways has made so many other they have tightened so many other things. So we have drastically reduced down the RRTs. And this has helped us in getting more rakes from the railways. We could load around 121 rakes in the month of March, which is an all-time record. And in our mines at Jagiapeta, where we have limestone, there also we have gone in for some rapid loading, equipment, wherein our loading time on the railways is reduced to 3 or 4 hours. So these are some, initiatives which we have taken to, increase the efficiency, and we are saving a lot of the railway RRTs and improving the loading of the rakes.
Thank you, sir. Patiently answering all my questions. And before the previous session also, heavy industry, in heavy industries, they spend so much time and resources on making the logistics better. This is one of the better way to see supply chain logistics, because there's an aspect of push and pull in supply chain. Basically, as a vendor or a service provider, if I'm giving some supply chain solution which is not being used by the customer, you can see the chain is crumbled or knotted. But when the pull is there from the customer side, the chain is completely tightened. So there's a best way to make supply chain work when the customer wants it.
One more, thing which we have achieved is, we, when we were exporting a lot of material in the last 2 years. So basically, as per the contract with the customer, we have promised that we'll load, say, X tonnage per day in his ship. But because of a good stevedores or, some agencies, we have created records. We have, loaded more than 9,000 tons in a single day. So as to, reduce the time of loading in the ship. And basically, it is not that it was done once. In all the ships that we have loaded it far faster than what we had, promised to the buyers. So this was also something which, we have achieved.
Congratulations for that. Thank you very much. My next panelist is Mr. Souvik Mandal. Welcome, sir. So basically, I spoke about supply chain management, also known as end-to-end logistics. Why is it gaining so much momentum in India for last, I think, 1 decade? I'm hearing, everybody's hearing about supply chain management. Whenever any MBA graduate applies for a job in my organization, they say, sir, I've done MBA in supply chain management. I say, I'm just a freight forwarder. So, but it's really coming up so much in India now. What do you see are the dynamic contributing factors for that? Is it like increasing globalization or change in customer demand, cost savings, or advancement in technologies? What are the factors? You can throw some light on it.
Yeah, why so much of supply chain management talking is going on? A few discussion has been happened in the earlier session, where we had been found in the EPI scale that our cost of logistics is around 14 to 15%, which is pretty high than the benchmark of 9% which is practiced in the world. So this is one of the major reasons why currently supply chain management has drawn attention, because to compete globally we need to reduce our cost. Until and unless we reduce our cost, we will not be able to compete globally. Now before I start answering the other questions, I just like to brief what we are basically. We actually are into multimodal logistics. We own ships, we move coals in the coastal regions for Tamil Nadu Tengenco, Tamil Nadu Power Generation Company. We own ICDs, which is dry ports in hinterland of Odisha, where we have now done a connectivity with railway from Vizag. So Vizag is our port of arrival or destination, whatever you can say. And we are basically having also a fleet for last mile and first mile connectivity. So overall, in the multimodal scenario, we are present in all the aspects, be it road, be it rail, be it waters. So now the challenges what we have been facing or what we have seen over the years is the data. Now anything and everything when you want to go smart is the data. The more data you throw to the cloud, the more efficiently the system will work. So it's data-driven thing which is going to come, and we have seen in the pandemic times how, I'll give an example of a Swiggy or a Zomato. These are nothing but supply chain management. We as a customer order online, and the restaurant delivers to the delivery boy who delivers it to us. Through a system, how it is being transferred, it is transferring to data. That data thing has been missing in the big logistics. Everybody was doing their own logistics. It is not the logistics world which is doing as a whole, which now I am hoping that with PM Gati Shakti, with 17 ministries under the belt, with a data cloud being formed, these things will definitely come down. I mean, the entire thing, and it will become smarter and smarter, the supply chain management of India. And it will hopefully be able to reduce the cost. So that is basically what smart logistics, what we are looking at going forward under supply chain management is going to happen, which has been started by these online food aggregators. Now the Amazon has come. These are all logistics. And in fact, logistics, if you see, is the most primitive, one of the primitive after agriculture industry or whatever you say, service is there. I mean, when an agriculturist produces a wheat or a rice in his field, it is being transported to the market. It's there since the earlier days, in the ancient times. And now it has advanced. It has advanced, and we are doing it through technology. Through our mobile phones, we are trying to access our containers or our movement of the goods, where it is and how, I mean, how long it will take to reach us. So, and these are all possible when the data is thrown into the system. Now, with increasing globalization, more and more, I think this process will be streamlined, and the holistically the cost will come down drastically on the logistics. May not be over the year, overnight. It will take 4, 5, 6 years to stabilize, and slowly it will come down, I think, to the level of 9 to 10% in India. And it will take some time to come down below 9% or below 8%. Now customer demand is also changing. I mean, the customers have become, earlier this sir is the example, he was just mentioned that for the railways what he has done to reduce the cost. So that customer demand is basically, the thing is that how to reduce cost, how to increase the efficiency, and how to give a better output. That is the entire thing what we, in fact, all the power plants which we supply coal to Tamil Nadu, all the ports are through conveyor belts. We download it to the conveyor belt and it is up to 1 kilometer they travel and get into the plants, basically, power generating plants. So, and similar leg is not available on the other side because it has to be still road and rail movement to the port for bringing in the coals, and yes, it's a cost, is still a cost, and that cost reduction effort is being going on, it's being looked at. Mines are being connected or nearer, or in a nearer place we are, I mean, the government is creating infrastructures for rail movement. But again, I mean, in the power generation plants, what we have seen, there is no handling cost from the ship through the stevedoring agent or the CNF, as it goes directly to the plant. But on the other side, from the mines, the conveyor belt system is not there to the railway siding. So it has to be again a first leg mile of, the rail movement, and then handling, downloading it at the railway siding, then again putting it up, and then again bringing it to either Dhamra or Paradeep or any other nearer ports, and then transporting it to these things. Again, a handling charge, a double handling charge is being catered. So this basically increases the cost. So cost will not come down overnight till we go for automation. More and more automation will only lead us to bring it down. So, and this automation a person can invest when the data is thrown into the environment, when we can study the data. And all this investment are infrastructure investment, not a less the amount. I mean, any project you take it up for a conveyor belt, it will cost you 500 to 600 crores to build up a conveyor belt system from the mines to the siding. Or now the ports are having those conveyor systems, even Paradeep port has that system. So these will basically be slowly cutting down the cost, but it will take some time. India needs infrastructures, and infrastructure is costly. So it will take some time, but Professor Sir was asking when the cost is going to come down. Yes, sir, the entire logistics system is working towards that, and we will definitely working towards reduction of cost slowly. It will not happen overnight, but the entire system is working and will achieve that. And to sum it up, is basically the thing will become technology driven. Be it rail, be it road, electric vehicles have come in. So to make it carbon reduction, containers being tracked through RFID systems under Gati Shakti. So we know exactly which container is at what locations. The movement, even the trailers movement are being monitored, the diesel measurement, so that we can, from the measurement itself, we can understand where the how far the truck has traveled, or whether the trailers or the trucks are consuming more. So all this advancement of technology has happened, and this will ultimately benefit the industry, benefit the customers, and definitely the entire ecosystem of logistics is definitely going to have a boost. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Shavik. Yeah, of course, heavy industries, they are investing a lot in technology, not only for the the process of manufacturing, but also on supply chain management. Where I've also spoken to some other counterparts of yours, where they're talking about the cloning of complete system, where the factories are functioning, the logistics is going, but all data is in the system where somebody can sit in the front of the monitor and can see the exact clone, so that all efficiencies, it can be done efficiently, and you can also find them in the module. If you find something which is not going as per, so you can take action, not something going wrong in real life, but in a clone, in a system.
Yeah, true. I'll just say that it's true. Just like if you see when we are searching a product in Amazon and Flipkart, when it's AI who is working in the back end. So when you are searching, say, for a shirt, it will throw you n number of shirts or the brands to you. So I have got the options to choose and pick at the right price, and looking at the delivery time, I can order. Similarly, when the industry will function in a team, in the entire cloud, when somebody will ask for a shipment or for things to come in, they can easily, when the data is available, similar system can work, where PM Gati Shakti is basically focused. That's how it's going to happen in future.
Thank you. I'm also very glad that all the logistics people over here are answering the professor. That means all of you are in student mode, and we feel that we are ready to learn and come back to the professor. So I'm very glad. So on a lighter note, of course, now moving away from millions of tons to milligrams, we have Mr. Bikash Kumar with us, who's from Aurobindo Pharma, one of these prominent pharmaceutical companies in India, doing a pride for us, being one of the biggest exporters and revenue earners for the country. So I think my premise would be same. Mostly for the young generation and for the business here, basically I would use keywords which are very popular: digitization, AI, blockchain. So keeping these terminologies in premise, I would like you to throw your, share your experience, so that there could be some startup pharmaceutical companies also over here who can learn from you. Of course, I'm not sure that you're willing to share everything with us here. Yeah, so please take over, sir.
Hello. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thanks that you are sharing with me. There's a personal touch I want to share with you, sir. I belongs to that Talcher Mahanadi coalfields area, and I witnessed what is the difficulty people have faced that time to transport the coal and all. Now I'm glad to know that you are doing some good job there. Really nice to you to hear this. Thank you very much. And thanks all over here that I'm learning so many things. So it is my duty to share our thoughts to you. So our biggest challenge in pharma is that whenever you are producing a medicine, we ensure that when it reaches to the patient, it should be safe. And this is our personal duty as a pharmacist and as a regulatory requirements also. What is the current challenge today? Any batch, any product we are sending to US, Europe, any country, so we have to generate the data where it will tell that product has been transported carefully and safely and stored safely, and when the patient consumed, the product is retained its efficacy. So for that, so many data to be generated in between. And that is the challenge here, because today, long 10 years back, we collect the data and we will assess the data, whether all these things has been done with a systematic way and all meet the standards. So what happened, like we have to maintain some temperature and humidity when our goods get transferred to the other part of the country. So each data has to be reviewed and found if okay, then we will go for the sale. Now, a study tells out of 100% you export from India, 8% gone to the drain due to this poor management of maintaining the temperature and humidity. So whenever the regulatory comes us, and the first point will ask whether you have done a transportation study. So transportation study means we have to validate our logistic partner, and we have to say with the data that the logistic is fit for the purpose and he is fit to transport our medicine to the till patient. So this is the biggest challenge for us. So like sir is telling about IoT and artificial intelligence and smart chains and all. So we have now started the job, how to integrate the things, supply chain integrations. Now we have started with this very small thing, like RFID you are seeing in the taxis. So where taxi goes, you can know from the mobile phone. So that is the things we have started long back, 10 years back in our containers. So we have started collecting data. From the data, we will understand which logistic partner is good for us. And through artificial intelligence, it will tell, yes, X logistic partner is good for us, and it will get automatic information from our ERP system. Yes, that goods get ready by this date, and you make ready yourself. So that the waiting time and communication time will be minimized. So already this job has been started, and in the trial phase we have started 2 years back. We have not reached to the final goal, but yes, somewhat extent we have already done this job, and we are sure that by 2024 we will reach this goal. So our main partner in the US and Europe, they are partnering with us. So so many logistic partners here, they are also associated with us. So this digital we are controlling. For another example of digitalization, what we are doing is we want to maintain less inventory so that our inventory cost should not be more. So during Corona times, you might have observed so many disruptions happened due to supply chains. So it helps a lot by this data. What you have done, that based on the trend data, what we have collected from the previous supply, we have done a manual calculation that which supplier can supply in the minimum period of time. And based on that, we have given order. Now we are making this concept detail system. So we are integrating all of them through our ERP system, and we are putting some artificial intelligence IoT devices in the system so that we will understand whether transportation is correct or not, or the product is safe or not. So this integration is on the way, and I think we welcome if somebody is partnering with us for this type of initiations, most welcome for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Who else can do a better forensic audit than a pharma company on the supply chain, on the logistics service providers? All the data that you have, you can use to assess how they performed. So you also have a beautiful term like GDP, good distribution practices. You want to share some light on that? GDP, good distribution practices of your service providers.
So it is a mandate for us, good distribution practice is a mandate for us. So whenever any logistics supplier comes to us, we make an agreement that anything gone wrong, like we have some standard parameters that within this day, many days it has to reach, and this many parameter has to be maintained throughout the transportation. So this is a regulatory requirement, and they have to give a complete their past experience. Based on that, we will send that data to the regulatory sitting in the FDA and Europe agency. They certify, then we can go for the further, giving orders to them. Each batch we are getting transported from our country. So it will, nowadays you are putting a data logger, which will tells us when you download that data, it tells us like the temperature humidity is maintained or not, where it is gets stored. So with RFID we are integrating the data logger also. So now we are developing a device where it will collect and control in the spot at the spot. So that device is under control now. I think a lot of job is going on that. Thank you very much.
Great, sir. Thank you for keeping us updated with the technology. So lastly on my panel, a very passionate logisticians from Kolkata, Mr. Debashish Mitra. I would like you to, you personally discussed, so I want everybody to benefit from that firsthand. Basically, can you speak about the development of land ports and river ports between India and its neighboring countries, including Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan? So, because it's a very key area for promoting regional connectivity and trade in South Asia region. So, please share some information about the projects that have already been completed and the projects that are in pipeline to go for this particular region.
Good afternoon, everyone. I thank you, Seatrade, and my panelists to give me opportunity to speak. Nobinji has told me to talk about the Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan for the land port and the riverine port and as well as rail port. Reddy sir is here. As I am from Bengal, and I do not know that as all the people here we are sitting, mostly the logistics people and the people who are give us foods, that means the exporters and importers. For Bengal, if we talk about the port, we used to talk about the Kolkata seaport, Haldia port and Kolkata airport. There are very few people we know about that in West Bengal there are another 23 port. Yes, another 23 land port and 22 port as already in EDI and only one port yet not being EDI. It is supposed to being EDI within this year. We are going to strong recommendations to our Commissioner of Customs Preventive West Bengal to make that land port also to the EDI system. The issue, I can told one thing is also that for India, almost 30 to 35% export business we're doing with Bangladesh. And from here, from Andhra, from Chennai, there is a huge movement of cargo is moving towards Bangladesh and coming also towards from Bangladesh. Now, as my destiny and my work is hardcore custom house agent first, and after that whatever you are beginning the definitions means freight forwarding, transporters, and whatever the language we are using, like we are doing all these things. Now, if the experience we are telling, when I came in this business, in this world, it's a very little journey of 22 years. I understood and I know that there are almost zero infrastructure we are working. If anybody from here used to send any goods from land port, there is also fear on that if I will send my cargo, it will stuck up in border at least 1.5 months. It is a notice, yes, we are exporting the trucks after 45 days even. Now, thanks to all the government, all the customs policy, and we as a logistics partner, as a customs broker, with a continuous pressure, now the land port detentions become zero. The people who are talking about the logistics cost reductions, I can tell that we are successfully able to deliver the cargo. I am giving the brand name because these brand name can able to understood that whom they are using this. Chittagong, there is one big player is there, the company name is Puma. We have committed them from Chittagong to Chennai. The one shipment will bring from factory to factory within 15 days. Within 15 days. And we able to complete within 13 days. So the costings, the reduction of time is coming very much well. Now from Bangalore to Petrapol, to the destinations, the goods are being exported within 4 to 5 days. And from Bangalore to destinations where the factory is going, it is going to maximum 10 days. The transit time, the cost is being drastically reduced. Now, the main problem is that when we talk about the riverine port, we used to depend on the barge. And the barges, whatever the plying over the route, protocol route, the mostly Bangladeshi barge. There are very few Indian barges are there. Why? Because no government, no bank, no financial organization will sponsor or will give you finance to purchase a barge. So this is a big problem for us. Those who are the small players and those who are the big players, they doesn't have to use to go in this business also. Within Bangladesh, we have 4 to 5 railway station port. That means once you load the cargo in the railway wagon, the rail will go inside the Bangladesh port and offload the material. As the future, we are being spoken, we are being told that there is a huge infrastructure is developing in Dhaka in help of government of India, where you will book the train and the material will move towards Dhaka, so that there should not be any cost at the border. But the problem is that what we are doing, in now that whatever the custom station we used to go, still there is zero infrastructure. The officers, the railway officers, we used to go to the open railway track and the examination is happening on that area. Here there are lots of big people are there to make the investment on there. If there is any possibilities, I am telling you, sir, if there is minimum short of investments, there are lots of things can be happen on these land ports. Apart from Bengal, Bangladesh is also connecting with 13 land port, which is in Assam, which is on Tripura. The people, we as a customs broker, we used to fight each other in the all major ports like Kolkata, like Vizag, like Chennai and all these things. I am telling that there are ports where only one custom house agent is there. Currently, the port name is Sutarkhandi. It is in Assam. This is a land port. Only one custom house agent is working. Only 2 transporters or logistics partner is working. Nobody is there. Another port which is connecting to Bhutan, there is no custom house agent, no logistic partner is there. The port name is Kulkuli and only 2 agent is going. Now the port name is the port which is connected to the Bhutan people, and I sure that everybody knows about the product of Druk and all these things from the Bhutan, which is very nearer to this port. It is, the name is Chamurchi and other side is Luksan. So the scope and so the business, so the opportunity to make the cost in a very reducing manner, there is a huge opportunity is still there. We only not able to focusing those areas which we should focus, we should make the infrastructure, and we should not depend to our government and blame that these should not be doing very well. Thank you very much. Anything?
Thank you very much. So when you're talking about all these things, I think 20, 30 years ago, even Pearl River Delta in China was like this. And so many people from Hong Kong and have gone and developed that region. So I'm sure you've given a lot of insights to people to come to the region, eastern region, and explore the opportunities there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So that concludes.
Of diversified topics were given, but most of them were focusing towards logistics and supply chain management. I would like to make one of my observation, because I teach in the School of International Business for logistics and supply chain, analytics and all. So as you all said that, okay, the real-time management, where with this IoT or machine learning and AI, we are all advancing so that real-time, whatever is happening immediately, it is reflected at different points and then it's being managed and the efficiencies have gone up. Now, my point is to the panel, to every one of you, is that we actually, while we are developing ourselves to improve our economy and our businesses, by 2030, it was a promise by our beloved Prime Minister that the carbon footprint should be brought down to 40% from the existing whatever was there in 2019 it was announced. So now my point is, in order to bring down to that level, we have to make many initiatives, whatever you're trying to increase the cargo movements and all, it's definitely going to make the carbon footprint much more. As such, we are suffocating. If you see Delhi and various other cities, including Visakhapatnam, if you see hazardous levels are there. So in this, my advice, a piece of advice is that coal is one of the most dangerous cargo which is being abandoned or left by many of the developed nations, but still we want to leave it. But when I was young, people were saying in 1970 that fossil fuels will not last on this planet for more than 20 years, but still it is continuing for more than now 40 years. It continues. Similarly, coal is also abundantly available, including in India, and that is going to happen forever. In order to see that if it is happening like that, we are transporting by road, by rail, by ship, and multiple number of times we are transporting. If you talk about the multimodal transport, multimodal logistics, many of us are talking about road, rail, air and sea, or inland waterways and all. But of course all of you know that, but then we are not really tapping the advantage of having pipeline, which is also a multimodal transport of cargo. The pipeline, what my advice is that the R&D should go to that extent where the coal, iron ore, certain ores, which can be formed into slurry and they can be moved within the, cross country and to the different places. That kind of technology, if R&D is done, that will reduce lot of your transport by rail, road, ship, which is creating maximum amount of carbon emissions, and we are really struggling for that. And in the process of development, we should not make our planet a place where we cannot have a sustainability. For that, why not the pipelines can be drawn? Similarly, as you all were saying about the Sagarmala, which will be connecting all the rivers, and then you'll have inland waterways. All these things are, for the progress, for the protection of the environment. I feel that in this angle, if it is looked to transport in the form of semi-liquid, that is a slurry kind of transport, which many of the other liquids are done in the cross-country, within the domestic, from one state to the other state. These are the areas where it can be forever. You can reduce all this pollution as well as the traffic congestions. All this can be definitely reduced. This is my point of view. Thank you.
It comes. So that is why my question or my request to sir, if when you are working with Mahanadi coalfields, see whether some conveyor belt can be done up to the siding if it is feasible, which will obviously reduce the carbon footprint of the truckers which are basically moving and increasing the cost.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you, Professor Saab. That's a very interesting point that you raised, a very valid point. As he has said, the slurry movement has happened in, iron ore. The Kudrembakh iron ore, I think, was the first. Before they ran into a lot of environmental issues in the eastern, ecological issues in the Western Ghats, right? The entire Western Ghats has been declared as a sort of a, ecological zone which cannot be tampered with, and Kudrembakh iron ore finally had to sort of shut shop. Iron ore is one thing, but coal conveyor belt pipelines, double conveyor pipelines are there for transport of coal, primarily in the pithead areas. I was the Director of Fuel Management, Planning and Commercial for Telangana State Power Generation Corporation, where we developed a 3 million ton per annum coal mine, which is just 20 kilometers to the Kakatiya thermal power plant. So it costs, just the 20 kilometers costs about 350 crores. So it's very expensive. And then the maintenance is also very expensive. So one has to balance the cost trade-off. See, what happens is, the cheapest power is the hydel. Maybe the cheapest may be renewable, because though the initial capex is more. Then comes hydel, then comes thermal, then comes your, all other this thing, your gas or, whatever it is. So, if you add cost to that, then, it becomes more expensive as compared to, the other baskets. And still, even now, thermal power constitutes 60%, it's the base load. Everything else, renewable power, the insolation levels for solar power are from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And this cannot be stored unless you go for pumped hydel storage and all that, which is now coming in. But basically, you are using energy again to, store the power for the peak period, right? So we are talking about a developing country. I mean, it's all good. Even now you see with the Ukrainian war and all that, they have mothballed the thermal plants. Now the latest figures say probably in Europe, more people have died because of the cold, because of the high energy prices. You see the economics, the latest issue, sir. You're an economics professor. Then COVID. The high energy prices have killed more people in Europe than COVID. This is not disclosed to anybody, but this is the fact. So we cannot afford that, right?
I would like to give one small point over here, sir. This is with regard to China's R&D into, there are many mariners are sitting over here, marine professionals. I want to tell that we have seen now for the commercial transport of ships and other, vessels, which has a maximum of 25 or 30 knots speed, whereas China had gone with a technology where they can reduce time by increasing the speed, by creating the movement of the vessels creating a vacuum bubble, big vacuum bubble. When the vacuum bubble is there, the frictional losses won't be there. And with that, it is said that they are making experiments and all. The speed had gone to the range of 316 kilometers per hour. Can you imagine about that in the water going at a speed of 316 kilometers? What I want to say is, I'm not trying to educate or anything. There is room, as you are saying that it is very expensive, but then there are technologies which are coming out where the cost can be brought down. For example, I tell you about yesterday there was a National Technology Day celebrated, entire India National Technology Day, in which I was talking about the nuclear fuel, where by taking only few kgs, you can generate so much of power, as you all know that. So there, by enriching, India is holding tons and tons of uranium, plutonium and thorium and the isotopes of that. When you enrich it by 5%.
Sir, are you aware what is the cost of per unit production through nuclear power?
Yes, sir. Yes, I know that. But those costs are being brought down, sir. I'm working on that because I have been to United Nations on this topic of nuclear, weapons, how that can be reduced in the planet. I was there in United Nations last year in the month of August. I was a special invitee as a civil society observer by the United Nations. So what I'm saying is there's a room for improvement. We have to keep our ideas and everything open. That's I thought I'll be sharing about it, about the speed of the vessels which have been taken to the level of 316, which is not imaginable. It's there in China. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, I belongs to that area, Maharaji Coalfield area, where my childhood gone. So this system exists, long back. So I have seen 20 years back, where coal get transported to thermal Kania, yes, FCI Talcher, and FCI thermal plant. So this is a closed system where coal get transported from the coal mines to these three plants. I have seen that 20 years back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. I think we all need to create a balance, because if you see Western Australia, they conduct minimum 3 to 4 events in India and they're asking us to buy their coal. I'm sure they're going to China, they're going to Pakistan, and they're going to other countries to buy their coal at cheaper rates. I think end of the day, things have to be balanced. So if no other questions, we would like to conclude sharp at 6 o'clock, but we are 5 minutes late. So thanks a lot for everyone for attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. May I request you to kindly be seated? Thank you, sir, for moderating the session on time. Thank you so much. And yes, to present a memento to these gentlemen who, gave us such amazing insights, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. S. Padmanabhan, Director, Sattva Logistics, please. Ladies and gentlemen, let's invite him with a loud round of applause. As I call out the names, I request the dignitaries to kindly step forward. First, may I request Mr. Debashish Mitra, CEO Bihag Overseas, to kindly come forward and receive the memento. Thank you so much. Dr. Bikash Kumar Nayak, may I request you to kindly step forward. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Favorite tracks without hearing audio ads when you make.
Next, Mr. Ravin Kumar Reddy, may I request you to kindly step forward and accept the memento. Mr. Prashant Sagar, General Manager, Marketing and Services, Rashtriya Ispat Nigam Limited. Thank you so much. Mr. Sauvik Mandal, CEO, APJ Logistics. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Mr. Kishore Kumar Chirukumalli, may I request you to kindly come forward, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights with us, sir. Thank you so much. And of course, we have Mr. Naveen Prakash, who moderated the session. Let's give them a loud round of applause. That is Mr. Naveen and his panel on stage. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Now, gentlemen, may I request you all to please pause for a quick photograph, sir. May I request you to join them, sir? 2, on developing smart solutions for current logistics challenges. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Kindly join the audience. Thank you, sir.